Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World, and this video will still be about the exclusive equipment, and this time we're going to talk about the blue team. Again, as the previous videos, I will give a brief overview as to which unit should be prioritized and which one you can just directly ignore. I also wanted to mention that in my previous videos, I found that I was spending too much time talking about the viability of the units and all topics that I will discuss in following videos on like a tier list or also in the dupes video. Uh, so I will try and focus more on just the exclusive equipment. I will still take into account how good the unit can perform, but I will try not to waste too much time talking about it. So the first thing to mention about the blue team is that it's composed mainly of close range unit. So by design, close range unit will require more investment than the counterpart, the ranged units, because ranged units can just not invest that much in defense because you can place them in a way they're not going to get hit, but close range units will get hit. You will have to invest in them in a certain way. So sure, they require higher investment overall, but there is a positive thing of this blue team is that his carries are mainly SSR. Uh, this element also has a really good tank, and he has a unit which is similar to Evankel. Urek is an SSR plus, but he requires really high investment. I have him at 3 red, but I feel that in PvP he's a monster, but in adventure he still dies. So I feel like you need, like, for sure more investment than I have in my ignition weapon, that's a given, but you also need probably the 4 orange for that additional 40%, which together with the ignition weapon will be probably enough to make him survive. Otherwise, I just feel he dies before Blanc can even try and heal him. So that's just my opinion. Let me know, guys, if you also have an Urek at 3 red, how he performs for you. But yeah. So overall, this is a really good team, especially since the release of Blanc, because we have a lot of close range unit, as I said, and she can help perfectly. She has an AoE heal, which also helps in the trial because it like reduces the damage you take from the green element, which you are going to face a lot of in the trial of the green element of the blue element. So definitely a huge plus, and she can also heal and buff all your units. Really, really awesome. I feel like her special skill is a little bit like strange. It could have been better, but we will talk about it. Not when we're going to talk about Blanc, but in the tier list video for sure. So, as for priority, again, Khun Ran is your main DPS, so you want to start with him if you're planning on building a blue team. Second unit on the list I would recommend is Blarode because of two main things. One is a good sub DPS and it can work as a tech unit if you want to pull enemies, like certain enemies, and get rid of them really quickly. Really quickly, it can do that. It's really, really good. So you can access the backline and get rid of one unit if you invest in him accordingly. So really good unit overall. And the second reason is that he's one of the best bossing units in the game. So his exclusive equipment is basically built all around bossing and for sure getting rid of the unit that you can grab out of the enemy team. So definitely his exclusive equipment is the second one you should focus on for the blue element. After that, the other units that are really viable are just Blanc. As I said, she's pretty much mandatory now. Her exclusive equipment is nice, but her exclusive equipment plus 30 is not that mandatory. Steel is a nice to have thing, but not that mandatory. So I would say take her down to plus 20, and if you have no other priorities, you can slowly work on her plus 30. But plus 20 is definitely great for the ignition weapon mainly. Then other priorities, really there are not many because the next unit you will use in every single blue team is not a Mascheny, but she doesn't need the exclusive equipment, so it's up to you if you want to build it or not. Her plus 30 is actually nice, but to me it's just nice to have, not a mandatory thing. So yeah, feel free to upgrade her, but not really that it matters. The next unit that you could use as a fifth spot, there are not really many options. If you haven't invested Urek, Urek is definitely a great pick. Otherwise, Lero Ro can work. Novick would be great if he just had more tankiness and if he could just, if his special skill was 50% bigger, it would probably be uh, an at least A-tier unit, but now is really not. So I wouldn't suggest him. Lero Ro is fine, but again, it doesn't have the greatest exclusive equipment, so not that worth investing in it. All other units are pretty average. There are some interesting ones that I think would be uh, at least worth a shot, but since the resources are so low, I don't want to risk it with units that could be just useless in the end. But there is potential in this element for sure. I like the kit of some units, and I think they could be viable. Like Kurdan is one of them. I really think that's a nice kit, and he also has survivability potential, so it might be worth a shot. Hatzling is also nice. Is basically the only ranged unit in this element, and he also has invincibility in his special skill, so it could also be worth it. If any of you guys have one of those units invested, please let me know how they perform, just because I'm curious. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much enough for the introduction and overview. So now let's quickly go over every single unit. I will try to keep it as short as possible. So Blanc, again, as I said, is basically your priority after you have already completed your Khun Ran and your Blarode. This is just going to increase in general the duration of your AoE heal and also the Lighthouse attachment that she attaches to all units so that when the unit goes below 50%, she will heal them and also stun the enemies nearby. Definitely a lot of value here. Her plus 20 is also really good because by default she increases the healing she does to units close to her, but since the majority are close range units, not that many will be close to her. So having this restriction removed is definitely a big plus. And then our plus 30, with the fact that our Mega Boost, which is our special skill, targets the lowest HP ally, is not that reliable. It's often going to just target that Mascheny, and you don't really care about debuff and status effect immunity on her. So I don't know. It's definitely nice to have. If you don't have any other priorities, go for it. Otherwise, just stop at plus 20 and focus on someone else. Then next up in the list we have Blarode. This guy has one of the most busted exclusive equipment in the entire game. This is built entirely around bossing basically. Isolated enemies will just get destroyed uh, with like his plus 0, his plus 10 and his plus 30 are all debuffs on isolated enemies. So it will decrease the defense by 20% of the boss plus the 80% from the Yellow Knight that we talked about in the yellow video. It's 100% defense increase, really great. Then you get 20 swiftness reduced, which means the boss is going to cast his skill a little bit slowly, more slowly. Then he has an attack increase when he's targeting isolated enemies. If you invest on him, which is actually recommended, you will get some additional damage, which is also a great thing. And his plus 30 is just busted. It will just set the physical and magic resistance of isolated enemies to 0. Nothing to say about it, just stupidly strong. This will also in most cases apply to the units that he grabs with his skill. So all of these additions will help securing that that target is going to be eliminated. So really great investment, and definitely if you are not planning to build a blue team, you could even go for him anyway, and that would be worth it. But definitely if you're planning to build a blue team, go for Khun Ran first and then him for sure. So next up, data Mascheny. Again, as I said, you don't really need investment. Don't look at mine. It doesn't make any sense. 3 green star data Mascheny is not going to deal enough damage to justify this level of investment because all her kit does, except the plus 30 and the plus 10 basically, is built around damage. So plus 0 is just going to add damage. You don't care. She's probably even going to miss that hit, so no additional damage for you. The plus 20 is never going to happen. She's not going to kill anyone with the Great Spear of Dawn unless you ever at least 3 red for the additional damage because her scaling is really low. So plus 20, big no if you have no investment. Her plus 30 is actually the only thing you would need out of this kit, because at that point she gets additional swiftness, and the way her invincibility works is that it starts at 10 and then it's increased by 1 additional second every time she casts a skill. So the additional swiftness is definitely a nice addition, but nothing too mandatory. If you have no other priorities, go for it. Otherwise, just ignore it. She will still survive for at least 10, 11, 12 seconds. So it's perfectly fine. Next in the list is Hatzling. This guy again, I have no idea how viable he is, but his auxiliary equipment overall is okay. It's just going to buff the passive with the plus 20 and plus 30. It's going to create a barrier every 10 combo hits, and then he's going to be immune to status effects while that barrier is up. The barrier is pretty small and it only lasts for 2 seconds. I don't really know how quickly it can build up those 10 combo hits, because I don't know if they need to be 10 auto attacks or just 10 hits from anything. I think it's just 10 hits from anything, so with skills and the special skill, etc., it could build them up pretty quickly, so downtime might even be quite low, but no, I wouldn't be that sure. Then plus 0 and plus 10, they're going to increase basically his damage overall. The swiftness buff when you kill someone with a special skill is going to be increased by 3 seconds, so additional damage basically. And the buff, the swiftness buff is going to be like increased by 10 with this plus 10. And again, just additional damage overall. His special skill is nice, it grants him invincibility, so this guy could actually do some work, and I would like to hear the opinion of someone that has him built. I won't, probably, because I don't have that many copies, and I don't want to invest that much in him at the moment. I still think Khun Ran has a better potential. Next up, Horyang. This guy is a tank, and I think he can actually tank, unlike Amigo charts or hacks from the red element. This guy is a provoke. He can go shield allies and provoke the enemies around them. He has physical magic resistance increases, so definitely everything in his kit sounds fine to me. Also can buff the defense of your allies. It can decrease the attack of the enemies provoked, so you're going to receive less damage overall. Some HP recovery, this is probably just going to be 4 or 8% max, is unrealistic to hit that many enemies, so probably 1 or 2 is fine. The coefficient increase at that point wouldn't be that much, like 40% increase, okay, fine. But the like attack coefficient for his special skill is already quite big. Like if you look at mine at level 3 is 1200, so it's going to be like 1600 at level 5. Really, really huge. 40 more won't change anything. Plus 30, definitely great. 20% damage taken reduced when the barrier is active. So he's going to shield the ally, provoke enemies nearby, and then have a 20% damage reduction. Pretty cool. His only problem is that data matching exists, and this guy, I doubt, is going to last longer than her. Due to the fact that he only has one provoke, he's not going to stack up the ignition weapon set as quickly as a Karaka, for example. So I think the heals he will receive and also the magic and physical resistance stacks from the ignition set will be lower. So yeah, I don't think it's that worth it. Next up, we have the main DPS. This guy is definitely worth the investment. His +0 is already great. It's just giving him 90% total damage taken decrease when the lightning peel passive triggers. That passive is going to trigger at 40% HP. When it goes below that, with the +30, that will increase to +50%. It's more or less the same logic as Evankel. It's not going to have the um, heal that Evankel has, and it's also not going to have any invisibility frame, same thing as Evankel. So definitely having 10% additional HP is a nice thing. So his passive is to proc earlier, and then Blanc can heal him up, and then you would have basically an unkillable DPS that's going to destroy everyone. Unfortunately, it's single target, so that's a bit of an issue, but it's still fine, and this guy is still a beast. +10 and +20, they are going to extend the duration of the lightning peel state from 15 seconds to 20. I'm pretty sure it's 15 by default. And then they're going to decrease the attack debuff you would get after this state ends from 10 seconds to 5 seconds, basically. So let's have a look quickly here. If it was, yeah, 15 seconds, so it's going to take it to 20. Overall, really nice. It's additional resistances and damage. So that unit is really great. Next we have Kurdan. I don't even have the level 10 in proficiency for him, but this guy on paper is one of those that I would like to try because he has physical and magic resistances, so definitely great. It can get to with a +20 to 60% physical resistance and 50% magic resistance. So already quite high. Then with the gear and with the ignition weapon, if you want, you can give him additional magic resistance. He can get easily to high amounts. So the damage he will take should be pretty low. He has crazy utility with his silences. He could deal damage, so I would invest also in his accuracy so that he hits. And he can remove energy from enemies. So his kit overall, I like it. I think it can definitely work. And the percentages are nothing great actually. That's probably the main drawback that he has. That is, his percentages are really nothing special. But still, I would say he's worth a shot. If you have him built, guys, let me know. But again, please focus on Khun Ran. He's definitely better than this guy as far as the carrying team goes. Probably in PvP, this guy is going to be a monster, but in adventure, he could be. I'm I'm just not sure. Next, we have Lero Ro. He is the other support we have other than Blanc. He has the elemental passive, so he's going to give an attack buff to all blue element allies, which is okay. Now with the ignition weapon, it's not that necessary anymore, but still is a nice addition. His exclusive equipment is just going to boost his special skill, which is going to decrease the enemy's swiftness. Then he also has some resistance shred with a +30. It's going to stun them, so a little bit of CC. But overall, not that great of an utility. I'd rather use Blanc. If you really have no other option, sure, you can make a great fifth member of the team, but it's definitely nothing too crazy. I would say stop to +20 because you might have other priorities that you want to get to +30 first. But then the physical and magic resistance shred is nice if you're already investing in him as a fifth member of the team. Next in the list is Novick. This guy unfortunately is quite terrible. Looks like he's built as some sort of bruiser. It could be great on paper um, if his like special skill was actually a little bigger, like 50% bigger, and if he actually survived to cast it. Because even at full rainbow, I find that he just runs into the enemy team and dies, and that's all he does. I don't know why a tank would be this squishy. So it's really crazy because it starts stacking the physical resistance when he hit enemies with the active skill. So again, you need accuracy, pretty stupid to me. And before he casts the skill, he's probably already dead. So that's what I don't like. If he already started with the max number of skill, like if his exclusive equipment said at a certain point, like start with max stack, that would have been awesome. But it doesn't, and he's probably going to die before he gets any. Uh, his special skill is actually really good, but unfortunately it's pretty small, so he's not going to give the physical resistance to the allies as you would like. So I don't know. Also, the attack coefficient on the basic attacks is really great, but I just don't know, guys. I don't feel like this guy is of any use. Crimson Soul max stack, definitely great, but you need to cast uh, five of his active skills before you cast the special skill, so that it extends the duration of his special skill by 5 seconds. And then if you have 5 stacks, it's just going to have 100% physical resistance, which I'm not exactly sure how it works. But yeah, nothing crazy. Plus 10, plus 20, they are going to reset the cooldown on these two active skill whenever you cast the special skill, which is also okay. You can build 2 stacks of the passive immediately. It's fine. The plus 30 is actually really good, but again, the area is that small that you're just going to probably hit one enemy max and one ally, other than Novick, obviously. So to me, not that worth it. If it was just really 50% bigger, he would have been a good character. But for now, really, I wouldn't invest in it. The plus 30 definitely works. It can be used in one boss fight, so the plus 30 could be useful, but I wouldn't waste resources on him for just that. Then we have Quaetro. This guy is another stupid one in my opinion because he's a close range. If he just was ranged, it would have been great, but he's a close range without any defense whatsoever. He has nice skills. I'm pretty sure he has nice damage. The only defense is like this 80% max HP shield, which if you are Hiwa and you are behind, like in the backline, it's fine. But you are a guy in the middle of the fight, you're going to die. It doesn't make any sense. You don't have like resistance reductions or anything. So for me, it's definitely a no-no. And his exclusive equipment is just going to give him more attack and give him life steal on his special move. Other than that, nothing. The life steal is just could be replaced by the life steal set. So okay, woohoo, nothing great. The attack increase also is okay, is nice, but if he dies, he won't do damage. So to me, not worth it. Then we have Quant. This guy is also another one that I think could have some kind of use. He has a lot of evasion, and his passive with his plus 30 can be like triggered most of the times, like 6 seconds out of 10. So you only have 4 seconds downtime. The issue to me is that in those 4 seconds, is probably going to explode. So again, and also during those 6, since he has no, like his whole kit is built around evasion. So if you don't really have high numbers, you're going to explode in one hit. You have no resistances whatsoever. So again, to me, he's not worth. It could be worth a shot. Uh, in some way, maybe in PvP works really well, but in Adventure I don't see him doing that good. Still, I could be wrong. Please let me know if it's worth it in your opinion, if you have him built. But yeah, again, I wouldn't spend anything on him. Next is the last guy. I don't have that much investment, so that's probably why my red 3 Urek is exploding. I should level up his slot 2 for the additional defense and his slot 3 for the additional HP, and also the attack one for sure because he's kind of a DPS. But still, I feel like he's exploding way too much. It could be better probably. But yeah, his exclusive equipment is great. That's really Also, one of the best exclusive equipments. I'm saying it too often probably, but this one is really, really great. His plus 20 is insane. But yeah, let's just start with the plus 0. He's going to recover 5% of his max HP whenever hit by a status effect attack. So extremely good if you are facing opponents that throw a lot of CCs or blinds or whatever at you. You can recover HP from it. So absolutely great. And also every time you're hit by that kind of attack, all your skills will be reduced by 1/5 of the original cooldown. So it's not a 20% of the remaining one, but 20% of the original one, which is actually way better. Um, it's fine. Again, if you have no status effect against you, pretty useless, but overall is a nice one. His plus 20 is huge. Whenever you cast a skill, you destroy all buffs on the target. That works on any kind of buff. I also tried with the BAM buff, the one that lasts until the end of the battle, and it seems to remove that one as well. So, to me, absolutely great. So this guy is definitely worth it. With the lifesteal set built a little bit, I think it can work. I would probably take him to Orange 4 to be just on the safe side, but definitely a great, great unit. And then his plus 4 is just insane. Because you might say, okay, but if you are hit by status effect, you are already like in a bad spot. But his plus 30 is just going to say, yeah, they're going to hit you and they're not going to apply anything to you. So you are just getting the benefits, which is really, really awesome. Okay, guys, Urek was the last one on the list. Yeah, overall, I feel like the blue element is better than the red one as the third team. So after yellow and purple, I would probably go with this one. There are a lot of units that are really, really great here. So yeah, I think it's the safest option. In the next video, we're going to talk about the green element. That one is probably in the worst spot of all, but he has one of the strongest units and two that are kind of okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think. And if you liked it, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!